Good morning, Titans. Each of you should have received a Centennial High School Handbook Addendum. In addition, you need to be familiar with the Frisco ISD Handbook. This morning we're going to review a couple of the main points that you need to know while here at Centennial High School. Both the Centennial High School Addendum and the Frisco ISD Handbook can be located on the FISD and CHS web pages. These are the guidelines that you all should know, so you know what's expected of you this school year. In the Centennial High School Addendum, there's one point that everyone associated with CHS should know by heart, and that's our Titan Pledge, which is located on the front cover of our addendum in parentheses. Each week, we pledge. I pledge to be personally responsible in my endeavors this week. The intent of the Titan Pledge is to impress upon everyone at CHS, students and adults, that we are each personally responsible for our endeavors, actions, behavior, and the way we interact and treat one another on a daily basis. The Titan Pledge encourages us all to give our utmost effort in all that we do, that we're to be mature enough to accept both the good and the not so good consequences that come with our decisions and actions, and that we're to behave as responsible citizens at all times and treat others the way we ourselves would like to be treated. You should read the entire addendum on your own, as you're held accountable for all the information within. However, we'll touch base on a few specific points in our brief review this morning. Beginning on page 4, it's important for you to know who your counselor and assistant principal are, and where these people are located in the building. These two individuals, along with all the other counselors and administrators, will be invaluable resources to you throughout this school year. Get to know your counselor and assistant principal, and call on them whenever you need their help or advice.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Severding.
And I'm Mrs. Messer, and we're your first stop when you come to the counseling office.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Marshall.
Hi Titans, my name is Miss Lassiter.
Hi, I'm Miss Wilson.
Hi, I'm Miss Green.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Smith.
Additionally, you should know the bell schedule and when and where you're supposed to be at all times throughout the day. You will notice a slight change to this year's high school bell schedule so that we are all consistent across Frisco ISD. You can find the new bell schedule on the CEN10 webpage. Please also know which lunch you have on both A days and B days and attend that lunch and that lunch only. CHS, like all Frisco campuses, has a closed campus lunch policy. The only students who may leave our campus for lunch are those with third period early release. All classes use A hall to go to lunch and B hall to return from lunch. There are hall monitors in place at all lunches to ensure that you follow this pattern. Moving on to page 6 in the addendum, there is a change to our busing information from years past. If you have a class on Liberty High School's campus, you must take the shuttle bus to Liberty High School. You cannot drive your own personal vehicle to Liberty. If you have a class at the CTE Center, however, you can still drive your personal car to the Cape campus. It's also important that you're aware of our late work policy, which states that you may turn in an assignment one class meeting late for a 30-point reduction of the grade earned. That's important because even a reduced grade is better than a 0. In addition, students who miss class for extracurricular and co-curricular activities like athletics and band must turn in work prior to or the day after you miss a class because of that competition or event. You should also be familiar with the CHS test guidelines, which state that if you miss a test due to an absence of any kind, it is your responsibility to meet with your teacher in their classroom your first day back to class to set a time for you to come in and make up your missed test. Tests must be taken during AM or PM tutorials within a week of the original absence. The same rule goes for missed daily assignments that you've missed because of an absence. Obtaining the makeup work and planning the work is your responsibility, Titans. Also on page 7, you'll want to familiarize yourself with the retest policy. Students may retest after every major test grade if they make below an 85% and meet the criteria listed for retesting on page 7. Department testing dates are in place, and as always, students may not retest if they received a 0 on the original test or major grade for cheating or plagiarism. Students must take their retests with their own teacher and not in the learning lab. A summative assessment of the entire semester or year may be given the last week of class, and that will count as a major grade. This summative or final test is not subject to the retest guidelines. Retesting is not available for the end of the semester or end of the school year summative tests. Also on pages 7 and 8, you'll find information on our tardy guidelines. Remember that tardies are disruptions to your teachers and classmates, so do your best to get to class on time. If you don't make it to class on time, students that are tardy are required to attend tardy hall for that entire period. Tardy hall is located in room A103. If you're in school suspension or tardy hall, you still have to complete and turn in all your work from that day on time, including tests and quizzes. Teachers will send tests and quizzes that need to be completed to ISS and tardy hall, but students, you must pick up any classwork that you missed that day. It's your responsibility to get your completed work back to your teachers on the normal due date. You don't get an extension on your classwork, tests, or quizzes because you went to ISS or tardy hall. Also on page 7 is information about advanced placement testing. Frisco ISD no longer reimburses students for taking advanced placement exams. Students must pay for these exams on their own unless they're on free or reduced lunch. On page 8 is information about backpacks. Remember, Titans, all book bags, backpacks, large bags, and large purses are to be left in your locker for the entire day. They are not to be carried between classes or to lunch. Large purses, string bags, and other items that cause space concerns in your classroom may be required to be left at the front of the room by your classroom teacher. If string bags and purses are small enough to fit under your chair, you may take them with you to the classroom, but this decision is left up to your teacher. The district and campus cell phone and electronic device guidelines are listed on page 8 as well. Please note that any use of these personal devices without permission from your teacher will be deemed as a violation and your electronic device will be taken up. When you hear the morning bell ring at 8:50 a.m., please be sure that your personal devices are put away. This includes headphones, cell phones, and iPods. On pages 10 and 11, you'll find information about academic ethics and plagiarism. Plagiarism or cheating is defined as taking someone else's assignment or even a portion of an assignment and submitting it as your own, or submitting material written by someone else, rephrasing the ideas of someone else without giving the author's name or credit, or giving your work to others, whether you think they're going to copy it or not. Centennial High School expects its students to maintain the highest degree of academic ethics at all times. This means putting the utmost effort into all your classwork and assignments, and avoiding plagiarism and cheating. Any student who's caught cheating or plagiarizing, including sharing your work with others, will receive a grade of 0 for the academic work involved, and any tests or quizzes are not subject to retesting. Also on page 11 is information on a law in Frisco which makes the use of e-cigarettes illegal within city limits. Please note that use of an e-cigarette on our campus or at any extracurricular activity is cause for school discipline, which may also include arrest or ticketing from the Frisco Police Department. Moving to pages 14 and 15 of the addendum, you'll find the Frisco ISD dress code and grooming information. You are expected to know and adhere to these guidelines at all times. These policies have not changed from years past, and they're in place to help guide you on what is and isn't appropriate to wear during school, including school-related functions. Since dress and grooming is a personal choice, we encourage you to know all these expectations and make the appropriate choice for how to dress yourself when attending school and school events. Don't put that responsibility and decision in someone else's hands, because we as a school staff will hold you accountable for these dress code expectations. Pants and shorts are to be worn at or above the waist at all times. Shorts and dresses are to be at least fingertip length when standing and should not need continual adjustment throughout the day. This includes athletic shorts and Sophie shorts. They should be fingertip length all the way around and shouldn't need adjustment to be within dress code. Leggings, jeggings, yoga pants, and exercise pants must have a shirt over them that is at least fingertip length all the way around. Sunglasses and headwear of any kind shouldn't be worn in the building. Straps on ladies' tops are to be a minimum of 2 inches wide to cover your undergarment straps. Gentlemen, you're not allowed to wear sleeveless shirts to school. Hairstyles and hair colors should meet the campus and district expectations and should be natural in color. Mohawks, faux hawks, and designs shaved into the head are not permitted. Ear piercings are the only visible body piercings that are allowed to be worn at school and school-related functions. Nose rings are not permissible. On page 16 of the addendum, it's important that students are aware of the academic requirements of Centennial High School. These requirements will allow you to be eligible to attend extra field trips, extracurricular activities, and the senior day trip. Students will also want to be sure that they're aware of the tutorial information on page 16. Morning tutorials are held from 8:20 to 8:50 a.m., and after-school tutorials run from 4:20 till 4:50 p.m. There are hall monitors in the A and B wings in the morning to ensure that only students going to tutorials are in the hallways. When you attend tutorials, you should remain in the class until the end of the time so you don't create a disruption or noise in the hallways where other sessions are taking place. The campus and district guidelines regarding personal medication are also listed on page 17. Any and all medications you may need should be brought to our clinic and checked in with Nurse Wise or Nurse Howard so as to not create a possible drug or medication violation that could create a serious discipline situation for you. Even medications such as aspirin and Tylenol need to be checked in with Nurse Wise in the clinic. Last on page 18 is new information about being placed at our alternative campus, the SOC, or Student Opportunity Center. Seniors, if you're placed at the SOC for discipline reasons at the end of the year, you will not be allowed to walk in Centennial High School's graduation ceremony. Please make wise choices your senior year of high school so that we can end your year in celebration. As previously stated, all of the information in our Centennial High School Addendum and the Frisco ISD Student Handbook is your responsibility to know and follow. It doesn't mean you necessarily agree with or love all the guidelines that are in place, but as responsible young adults, you should know that these guidelines are in place for a reason, and adherence to these guidelines will allow you to be in control of your personal situation here at school, rather than having to relinquish that control to someone else. Thank you so much for your attention during this presentation. We hope you have an awesome year. Please remember that we are here to support you, and teachers, at this time you can begin second period.